I love Sound Attack. Thank you for distributing some of the best stuff.
Adam Marcello here, played drums for Katy Perry. Shout out to Sound Attack.
Thank you so much, Sound Attack. You guys are wonderful. You guys are great.
And we're here with Ben from Two Door Cinema Club. Hello.
So the snare I'm using, it's actually the first Q Drumco drum I've ever had. It's a 14x7 brass plate drum. I think this is an early prototype of when Jeremy was experimenting with these. It's a pretty thick shell. Then the rest of the kit is made out of cold rolled steel, so it's a bit different to the galvanized steel and what a stainless steel kit would be. It's got its own thing. And 14x10, 16x16, 18x16, and then a 26x14. And those are pretty much the sizes I always use. I mean, sometimes I'll go between a 14 or 13 depending on which band I'm playing with.
Yeah.
But once again, with the Q Drumco metal drums, they do have some nice maple reinforcement hoops on the tops and bottoms. So just very good sounding drums. Regardless of the character of the shell, the heads are always sitting on a nice bearing edge. So the warmth is there, but depending on what kind of metal is used, there's a bit of a difference in dynamics.
Yeah, because you have a cockpit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. And,
Yeah.
How does that compare to the steel?
I mean, I think that the steel would probably be a bit more live sounding. The copper ones are extremely focused, and I love those. I mean, that's what I currently have set up in the studio. So yeah, these just have a bit more of a live presence to them, but the warmth is still there, and very, very versatile sounding drums. CS dots on everything, power stroke 3 on the bass drum, and then an X14 on the snare, which I like because, I mean, for quite a few years I used an Emperor X or something which is a lot thicker, and those sound fine, but I like something that's a bit thinner. That way it has a bit more of a decay to it. So I don't know, I personally think that drums should have a decay and kind of have a live sound to them. So I like that. So something a bit thinner helps me get that. Cymbals, all right, big cymbals. So the hi-hats and the ride have been a mainstay for me for a long time, probably 8 years or so. K-lights, 15s. I've had 16s before, but they stopped making them, unfortunately. The 24 K-light is my favorite ride that Zildjian makes. And then I kind of switch these up every now and then, usually 20-inch crashes or crash rides. So right now is this A thin crash, which is the thinnest crash I've actually used in a while, but it has a really nice sound to it. And then this is more typical of what I've been using for years. It's a 20-inch K crash ride. And like I said, I kind of go between 20 and 21s depending on what I have or what I haven't broken at the time. I mean, this was replaced a couple shows ago because wear and tear, it just happens. But yeah, so kind of like a medium gauge cymbal, nothing too heavy, nothing too thin, because of course we need it to last a decent amount of time. But yeah, like I said, these kind of change every now and then. I don't know, I kind of go through phases where I'll want something a bit heavier, something a bit lighter, but the K-light, hi-hat, and ride are something those are the mainstays that I always use. All DW hardware. This is the hardware that I had back in 2009, which is why it's black. But, you know, match that drum set, looks decent with this one. So yeah, it's all 9000 series stuff except for the pedals. Pedals, I love 5000 series stuff. It's by far my favorite. I've tried 9000s in the past, and I think they're super impressive with how smooth they are, but I kind of like to fight with the pedal a little bit.
Yeah, it's got a bit more weight on the thighs.
Yeah. More weight, and I set the beater as high as it'll go, just to have as much throw as possible. But yeah, I mean, typically I don't use a double pedal, but there are a couple songs like The Becoming, part of Wish, where double pedals used. So I have that here. Sticks, I use Vader 1As. Love the weight of them, but I suppose the biggest difference is that they're a bit longer. And since I naturally choke up, I mean, when I just grab, this is what feels right to me, so that extra length just feels good. So yeah, 1/8. I leave the lacquer off, because when you get sweaty, there's nothing worse than worrying about grabbing onto the sticks. So I do that. I mean, it'll tear your hands up a little bit, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Over here, it looks a bit odd, but I have a second pedal to my right, which triggers it's basically a kick trigger. It's for a Roland KD7, and that is used to trigger samples for things like bass drum and closer, or one of the bass drum sounds in the Wretched. So that's used occasionally. Same things with these pads. They're just typical Roland pads, and depending on what song is being played, the samples change from song to song. No, these are just MIDI, I believe. So these go to an interface, and they're triggering the sampler that's in the computer. And yeah, so the samples off the albums are loaded into that, and they just change. So yeah, Wretched, Closer, Big Come Down, Terrible Eye, just those electronic bits that are played by me just kind of get shifted around these pads. And in terms of other triggers on the kit, we just have one on the bass drum and the snare. D drum triggers work very well, and same sort of thing. I mean, we're still putting out a lot of the volume from the live kick and snare, but a lot of the samples from the albums are very signature to the song, so they get blended in. Hi, my name's Ilan Rubin with 9 Inch Nails. Just want to say thanks to Sound Attack for coming down, checking out the drums, and for carrying Q Drum Co. in the UK.